Cloudane.
Hello and welcome to Who Is Best, a show where I, Cloudane, take games that give you choices and rate those choices in a tier list. The 2020s has been the decade of the RPG. Not only are we getting instant classics like Elden Ring and Tales into Reverie, or hidden gems like Lies of P and Monochrome Mobius, we've also had some of the greatest games ever made remastered or remade for the modern era, like Final Fantasy VII, Persona 3, and the game we'll be talking about today, Star Ocean: The Second Story R. I think there will be an ongoing debate on whether this has been the single best remake of all time, and I'm tempted to believe it. Star Ocean 2 R set out to bring this PlayStation gem to modern titles with some additional features and balancing adjustments. Some characters have remained relatively the same from their counterpart in the original, while others... With that being said, we will be considering a few different things as we place these party members. We'll be mainly looking at accessibility, including recruitment criteria, skills and abilities, effectiveness as an AI and manual controlled party member, as well as their individual abilities to absolutely break this game. A quick note, when looking at tier lists, it is always important to find a second opinion. While doing research, I ran across this video from Solus and Dread. They do a great job in this video, and though my opinions differ from theirs, I'd say it's still worth your time to take a look at it. I hope you enjoy this list, and while you're here, why don't you subscribe and check out our perks for Patreon members in the link below. Oh, and stick around till the end for a bonus list. We'll start with the tier. Selene may be a hot mage, but unfortunately, mages in this title suffer at about the mid-game to late-game mark. They can't keep up with the damage or the versatility of most physical attackers and have the worst AI of all party members. And Selene is absolutely the worst among them. The only thing she's useful for in the late game is her buffing ability, Angel Feather. So if you want her till the end, just be ready to make up for her lack of damage somewhere else. Leon's offense is much better than Selene's, though he lacks her buffing potential. He's exclusive to Cloud's route, so there are some issues here for accessibility as well. His AI is so bad, and like I mentioned, mages pretty much are terrible in comparison to physical attackers. Now, his late game ultimate weapon can scale massively, and he has some decent abilities like Ravenous Fiend, so he's not all bad. Noelle is this game's attempt at a jack of all trades, and he pretty much fails in all aspects. He can't buff as well as Selene, he can't heal as well as Reyna, and he is outdamaged by Selene and Leon. All things considered though, if you have to choose between Selene, Leon, and Noelle, I think Noelle is the best because of sheer versatility, so I guess he's the best of the worst. Alright, let's move on to the low tier. Reyna has fallen from grace from the first title. In the original PS1 game, healing was an absolute necessity, and Reyna was and still is your best healer. But in this remake, unfortunately, or fortunately, Opera and her healing star exist. This makes Reyna nearly obsolete in the late game. Tack on the fact that her AI is terrible and you have a standard mid-game benched character. She can revive fallen party members, which can be useful, but overall, Reyna is no longer what she used to be. Chisato is the last party member you can recruit, so her availability is pretty bad. Also, in order to recruit her, you have to ensure you don't have 8 party members, so you must forgo someone else. Chisato's tear gas ability, with some setup, is still absolutely insane, and can be used to dish out incredible damage. Her other abilities like Whirlwind and 10k Volt gets a mention here as well. The main issue here is that you need someone to cover her during her long attack animations, so she doesn't get interrupted. That, and the fact you get her near the end of the game, make her a low tier character. Ashen is the tragedy of Star Ocean: Second Story R. Where he used to be one of the better party members, Ashen is now relegated to the top of the low tier. Ashen only becomes good after a first playthrough, which is too little too late. His regular attacks are good until the late game, where his poor accuracy becomes a major issue. Dragon Breath is still fantastic, and can be used effectively against any enemy not immune to the elemental damage. But overall, there are just too many better choices for your party. The mid-tier. Bowman is the only member of the mid-tier for one very important reason. Bowman can spam either Poison Pill or Explosion Pills, which, yes, isn't the most exciting strategy, but works very well. His damage can be incredible considering how easy it is to spam these attacks. Here's the problem though, his regular attack is terrible. In order to recruit him, you have to pass on Pressus, who is by far the better character. So he falls in an awkward spot in this list. Alright, that wraps up the mid tier. Let's move on to the best characters in the game with the top tier. Ernest is incredible at stun locking enemies with Thousand Whips, Sonic Whip, Spiral Lash, and Bed of Roses. Broken Heart is incredibly spammable and rockets his damage, and due to his incredible accuracy, he is a reliable late game damager. But compared to the remaining members of this list, he isn't nearly as good. What keeps him out of the mid tier though is the fact that he is recruited alongside Opera, who is one of the best characters in the game. Diaz is here strictly because in the late game, his usefulness and damage rocket him up. He has one of the safer strats in the game, spamming Air Slash, which will do incredible damage while keeping him out of range of most enemies. On top of that, he has great accuracy, comparable to Ernest, and though he won't be pushing out the most damage, he'll probably be doing the most consistent damage. I'd say that Diaz's biggest fault is that he's exclusive to Reina's route, which is the least beneficial to choose both in gameplay and story. Claude is as consistent a character as they come. He'll be useful from beginning to end. Dragon Howl and Ripper Blast do some incredible damage, and with the help of Eternal Sphere, he becomes a stun locking machine. If you can manage to get the Eterna early, you will absolutely break this title. Claude's greatest downfall is his accuracy in the late game, which makes it so you need to stick with weaker equipment that buffs that accuracy. Overall though, Claude is solid and recommended for any playthrough. The God tier. Pressus is part of a game-shattering strategy and is your single best mid-range fighter. She's here for locking down enemies so that other party members like Opera, Welsh, or Chisato can dish out their best attacks, and for canceling enemy attacks. Aside from Opera, she is one of the safest characters with many attacks that keep her out of range while dishing out mid to top tier damage. She has high accuracy, high evasion, and many moves that can hit nearly the entire battlefield, making her one of the single best late game characters in Star Ocean 2 Remake. Opera is also one of the best characters in this title. She's not only the second best healer in the game, but can break enemies with Gravitational Sphere. She can dish out damage with Tracking Plasma and Alpha Clip. Oh, and did I mention she does all of this from long range, making her one of the safest characters in your party. She's pretty terrible when you first recruit her, but once she learns Healing Star and can replace Reina, she will only get better from there. Overall, Opera is the most versatile party member in Star Ocean 2 Remake, and is an absolute staple for any endgame team. Welsh's Slappity Slap is the single highest damaging move in this title. It's really as simple as that. Yes, Pressus and Opera are safer due to their range, and yes, Welsh is optimal with a team of male characters. But overall, the fact that her damage output is double, sometimes triple anything any other party member can do just makes her incredibly broken. The fact that she can stun lock enemies and even has a few long range attacks is just the icing on top. Welsh is broken, and in the hands of a veteran player is the single best party member in Star Ocean Second Story R. And that's our list. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bonus round. My wife reacts to 5 Star Ocean waifus.
Oh no. It's the butt crack that gets it for me. She's kind of cool, actually. I don't mind her.
Yeah. She's got a third eye.
Oh, she does. You know, it's not on her boobs. I feel like that's points for her. Oh dear. Oh no. That is so much boob. It's impressive. The little strap between her legs doesn't look comfortable. I like her name, though.
Would you get a heart tattoo on your boob?
Maybe.
I love you.
What the heck?